You slide beneath the surface. The blue turns gray. Your ears pop. At 15 meters, a weight settles on your ribs. At 20, your diaphragm trembles. At 25, a low dread coils in your stomach. You keep kicking. The needle touches 30 meters. Something inside you shifts. You turn back. You break the surface. You inhale and taste copper. A pink froth spills from your lips. It swirls around your mask. You have just crossed a line that was carved into human flesh decades ago. This is the true story of that line. The depth of 30 meters seems arbitrary. Why not 25 or 35? The answer is written in the lung tissue of the first freedivers. They were not scientists. They were young, reckless, and hungry for a boundary. They dove without doctors, without textbooks, without safety lines, and they drew the map with their own ruptured vessels. Picture the Mediterranean in the 1950s. A teenager named Enzo Maiorca stands on a rock. He clutches a heavy stone. He has no gauge, no wetsuit, no coach. He fills his lungs with salt air and jumps. He descends into the dim. At around 10 meters, his ribs begin to ache. At 20 meters, the pressure feels like a stone slab on his chest. At 30 meters, a hot, wet, tearing sensation spreads inside him. He frantically kicks for the surface. He emerges with his mouth full of rosy foam. He thinks he has punctured a lung. He has not. But he has uncovered something no doctor could have told him. Across the ocean, an American Navy diver named Bob Croft felt the same thing. He described it as a sudden warm flood inside his chest, then the taste of blood in his throat. He, too, was around 30 meters down. A researcher named Albert Craig, who documented early breath-hold divers, began to notice a pattern. Almost everyone who pushed past 100 feet surfaced with the same pink warning. The ocean was telling them something, but what exactly was happening? To answer that, you must follow the pressure into your own body. At sea level, your lungs hold air at 1 atmosphere. Descend 10 meters, and the pressure doubles. Your lungs shrink to half their volume. Descend 20 meters, and they compress to 1/3. At 30 meters, 4 atmospheres squeeze your chest. Your lungs are now the size of deflated balloons. They are barely larger than your fists. Your rib cage has reached its limit. Your diaphragm has pushed up like a piston. If nothing else happened, your lung walls would collapse and stick together. The vacuum would tear the delicate tissue. You would never surface. But something else does happen. Why don't your lungs simply crush? Because a hidden reflex ignites, older than humanity. It is called the mammalian dive response. A Norwegian physiologist named Perskelander first mapped it in the 1950s. He submerged seals, and then human volunteers, and watched. What he saw was extraordinary. The moment a face hits cold water, the heart slows. Blood vessels in the limbs snap shut. Blood rushes inward, away from the fingers and toes. It pools in the chest cavity. It engorges the lungs. The pulmonary capillaries fill like 1,000,000 tiny water balloons. This liquid cushion holds the air spaces open. It prevents the collapse that physics demands. It is, in effect, a built-in liquid life support. But here is the terrible catch. In untrained humans, the blood shift is sluggish. Why couldn't it keep up with the dive? Early divers descended far too fast. The reflex could not respond in time. By 30 meters, the pressure outside vastly outstripped the pressure inside the capillaries. What happens when the pressure wins? The vessel walls stretch like overinflated surgical gloves. Then they split. Blood plasma and red cells poured into the alveoli. When the diver ascended, the expanding gas pushed this blood upward. It foamed on contact with air. That pink, frothy substance was literally the inside of their lungs, liquefied and expelled. Doctors call it pulmonary barotrauma of descent. The pioneers called it the 30-meter curse. A modern diving physician named Peter Lindholm later studied this using advanced imaging. He confirmed that the frothy hemoptysis is a textbook capillary stress failure. He also found something remarkable. The injury was not permanent. The body could adapt. How could such damage heal and become strength? The divers who survived learned to train the reflex. They could become faster at shifting blood. They could strengthen their pulmonary vessels. The limit they had bled to find was not a wall. It was a doorway. This is the strange twist to the whole story. The blood that marked 30 meters was not just a scar, it was a signal. It told the divers exactly where their training needed to focus. Enzo Maiorca himself said the pink foam was his greatest teacher. By suffering the squeeze and surviving, he taught his body to prepare before the crush. He and others like Jacques Mayol began pushing the boundary inch by inch. They discovered that they could, with slow discipline, descend deeper than anyone dreamed. In 1960, 30 meters was the point of no return. By 1970, they had shattered. At the limit, moved to 50, then 80, then 100 meters. Today, the world record is beyond 250 meters. The barrier drawn in blood has been dissolved by that same fluid trained to flow on command. But here's what that means for you right now. If you have never trained the dive reflex, 30 meters is still as real as it was in 1955. The physics has not changed. The pressure still sits on your chest like a lead slab. Your untrained blood shift is still too slow. If you push past 30 meters today, you will taste the same copper froth that Mallorca did. The ocean has a memory, and it is written in your own body. So when you look at a dive computer and see the number 30, what are you really seeing? Is it just a digital readout? Or is it the ghost of a young Italian spitting blood into the sea? Is it the echo of Bob Croft coughing pink mist onto a deck? That number is a fossil, a scar preserved in silicone and code. And every untrained diver who ignores it becomes another name scribbled in the margin of a very old lesson. Think about your own rib cage as you read this. Inside it, right now, your lungs rest. They are armed with the same reflex that seals use to dive a mile deep. They carry the same frail capillaries that once burst in a teenager off Sicily. You are the inheritor of an experiment they started blind. So the next time you slide beneath the surface, listen. When you feel that first ache around your heart, that is your body beginning its ancient ritual. Your pulse slows. Your vessels constrict. Blood creeps inward. You are not just diving. You are reenacting the very process that cost men their breath and gave you your depth. What if you could train that reflex? What if you could make it so fast that 30 meters becomes a warm-up? Many have. And they owe their ability to the ones who failed and bled. But there is a quiet, unsettling truth in all of this. The 30-meter mark is still a graveyard for those who ignore it. Every year, recreational divers without training push too deep. They surface with pink foam and a fear they will never forget. The line is patient. It waits for the reckless. It was paid for in blood, and it demands blood from those who do not respect it. Yet, perhaps that is the price of a frontier. Every map has its red ink. For the ocean inside and outside you, that red ink is your own. You stand now on the shore. The waves lap at your feet. You know it waits 30 meters down. Not a monster. Not a void. But a boundary line thick with the memory of broken capillaries. A line that was named by men who tasted their own lungs. You pull on your mask. You step into the water. You slide beneath the surface once more. You kick downward, and the light changes. At 10 meters, you feel your heart begin its slow, steady drum. At 20 meters, your chest tightens, but you understand the tightness now. At 30 meters, you pause. You are exactly at the mark. You imagine the slight quiver of vessels, the silent flood of protective blood. You think of the boy with the stone, the sailor with the bloody smile. You are swimming through their port offering. You surface again. The water is clear. No pink cloud. Your lungs hold firm, educated by ghosts. And as you breathe the clean air, you realize that the line you just crossed is not a prohibition. It is a story. A story you now carry inside your chest, nestled among the same capillaries, beating with the same ancient rhythm. The line at 30 meters is not drawn on any chart. It is drawn in you. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. A new story every week.